hearts, and we're going to decorate our hearts with monogram. And we're also going to decorate one with leopard spots. So the first thing we're going to do is pull stringer 3 ways, 3 different ways. The first is just regular normal stringer. I'm sure everyone's pulled stringer before. I'm going to use black. Black is a stiffer glass, so it makes it nice when you're applying the stringer. Then we're just going to start it at the top of the flame. Get it heated up, and we're going to make about a pea size to tiny olive, a small olive. I'm going to heat it up, let it roll back. I'm not going to get a whole lot into stringer because I believe that we're going to have a month coming up this year that's just all about stringer. So it's, my ball size is bigger than a pea, and then I just kind of keep rotating it to get it to a nice consistency. And I wiggle it just to keep my glass moving around. This one's going to be kind of thick. I'm going to pull another one. I want it to be a little thinner. Now I'm letting this cool down. Break it off. So the next one, I'm going to pull it a little faster. That'll make it thinner. The slower you pull, the thicker your stringer will be. I jiggle it because I want it to be even on the ends, and I have found that jiggling it keeps that heat more in the center. Get a pea size. This one's going to be thinner, so I don't want it quite as big. And I don't want my pea to be very soupy, so that's why I get it jiggly. And this one I'm just going to, there we go, pull it thinner. This is just a regular black. I found that regular black will pull a stringer to be more purple. Just the Affetre black will have more purple. Tuxedo from CIM has Creation is Messy, has more blue. And then Reichenbach black is a very intense black. So next we're going to do a white encased. Now encased can be done 2 different ways. I call it around the world for one, and then striped. And it's just the method. So I'm using just a regular white, and I'm using Rubino. Of course, Rubino is my favorite. So I'm just heating up the white. I don't want it to be melty or glowing. I just want it to be warm enough to accept the Rubino. And so the first one I'm going to do is around the world. Marcy did a encased stringer last month, and so this is just reiterating, because this is going to be decorating roses on one of our hearts. So we're just wrapping it on. We're keeping the Rubino in the flame. Just turning it on. I usually use whatever stringer I'm encasing it with as a punty. So So just push that on there. Now I'm going to concentrate. I'm not I'm twisting these at the same time, like two little handlebars. And I'm focusing my heat mostly on the ends. I'm kind of squishing it a little into a ball. Doing that moves the heat to the middle. And you don't want to pull on your ends. You can see that my white is getting kind of soupy and I pulled on it, but I want this to be fairly thin. And what I'm going to do is, as I'm pulling, wherever the most amount of glass is, that's going to be where the most heat is. So I'm going to hold that up. I'll show you as I start to pull. Okay, so I'm going to let that kind of cool down a little. And see how that glass is up on that white more? That's where the heat was staying. So I'm going to let that cool a little, so that way I can cut it into manageable pieces. Some people like long stringers. I'm not crazy about it. I find it difficult to use. So most of my stringers that I use are about 6 to 8 inches. And I will just cut that. I'm going to want my Rubino back because we're going to now do the striping technique. In my opinion, the stripey technique makes it a thinner encasement. I feel like the Around the World gets more glass on it. So same thing, we're just keeping the white warm enough to accept the other glass. And we're melting a small amount of glass and we're just swiping it on, like in a stripe. So heat it up, wipe it on. And I still keep my white glass or whatever glass that I'm putting the encasement on. I want to keep it warm. I don't want any popping and being crazy. Swipe it on. Swipe it on. Got one more. And I kind of just check to make sure if there's any edges that might need it more, but I think we're good. Same thing, make my Maria, my punty, and heating up the ends again. Not wanting to twist it because this isn't a twisted cane. This is just a encased stringer. roses with this. It's a fun thing to do, especially on hearts close to Valentine's Day. So I'm trying to just get it kind of like a barrel shape. The ideal shape is a football, because that way you've got your ends are smaller. Let's see, I'm getting it there. So you heat it up, let it cool a bit. You don't want to start pulling too quickly because you'll get a really, really thin stringer, and unless that's what you're going for. And then just pull pretty and let it cool. And I'm going to actually leave the Rubino on the end because it's just a little handle. We'll go ahead. You can use your glass cutters to cut it. I just use my little needle nose. It just breaks right off. Okay, so the next stringer we're going to do, oh, you know what? I want to pull just a regular green because we're going to use green for the leaves of our rose, and we'll be decorating the hearts in the other videos for this month. I don't need a whole lot of green, so this is going to be a pea size. Pea green, pea size. And I want this to be fairly thin, so I'm let it cool. Figure out how thick I want it to be. So that's about it. I like pulling stringers. It's relaxing to me. So sometimes when I have a brain block and I can't think of anything to make, or I'm not sure what I feel like making, I'll go ahead and pull stringers. Kind of give me some inspiration. The next thing we're going to make is silvered ivory stringer. This is fun to do as far as it does pretty sparkly stuff. It's just a fun reacting stringer. It reacts to different glasses. Turquoise and silvered ivory is fun. So it's just comes in a packet like this, and very thin sheets. Let me get a sheet out so I can. Okay, here's one. And it's very thin. I think there is silver, excuse me, silver leaf, but this is silver foil. Well, it says it's silver foil. And I'm just going to stick it right here on my marver. It stays warm there. And I'm going to heat up my ivory. You can see that I made some stringer there. It's best to use your silver foil and silver leaf with a mask. Better to do a respirator mask, because I don't think inhaling the fumes is a good idea. Now I'm making this into more of a barrel shape. makes it easier to pull it up. Now I'm just burnishing it on my marver, getting it worked in. And then we're just melting it in. And you can see I'm moving my glass because the thickest part of the glass is where the heat is. So I move that up. There we go. Because the heat stays where the thickest part of the glass is. So that's it. We've learned regular stringer,